for Israel. Wonder, is it real? Took the way you saw the world, then distorted it. Now you think you wanna rock it, twirl somewhere orbiting. Theories disproportionate, the truth distorted quick with a forceful grip. They force a misinfo that we absorbing quick. Took the people's signature to mean extorted it. They forging it. If news ain't good informants who informing them. There's a surplus, but they tell us there are shortages. Credit economy mortgages, dollar that's supported with empty fortresses. But what's important is this: we port in ships, important gifts. Of course it is, what extortion is in accordance with an assortment list of foreign tricks. We ignoring which informant this, informant this. It looked like we were snoring tricked. Pedophilia and the government endorsing it. Yeah, eugenics is exactly what abortion is. You just vilify those insubordinate. Way to matrix engineer, that's unfortunate. Geopolitically we in a field, that's for Israel. Wonder, is it real? Rappers actors say they high, say they sip with pills. Glorify suicide so they get the deals. Big pharma set it up just to flip the pills. Control the music industry until the scripts get filled. Geopolitically, yeah, we in a field, that's for Israel. Wonder, is it real?
In a world where people actually think that's what the world looks like. Wait, let's go back here. In a world where people think this is the world, what has the world actually come to? I know Globers, legit, if I take the reset button off and I show them that picture, they won't know whether or not to say it's real. Hey, think about this. Just think about this logically. If your worldview is so fragile that I can come to you with like a Bitmoji cartoon from my keyboard and I can say, hey, do you guys think this is a real picture from space? You won't know what to say because you know it looks fake, but as a Globe zealot, you have to pretend it's real even when it looks fake. So I literally go around and just show Globe where there's like blatant cartoons and I ask them if it's real or not. It's so funny. You guys should try it. But anyway, how's everyone going? I know it's been a minute, man. You know, we've been just, I was just embarrassed to come back in front of you guys until I got a little bit more of a beard. We've just been kind of busy, man. And we were kind of chilling too at the same time. And then we're going to have the house finished up soon. So yeah, I'm going to cover a bunch of random stuff, but still try to not, you know, I don't want to make the masters over at YouTube mad where they might terminate my channel, but we'll see how it goes. I saw someone say, when are you going to get on the, do some shows on the Glowbusters Rock Fin so you can like ladle some real gravy? I mean, I'm down to do it for sure. I do miss the days that you could just like empty the mag. It's been a while. What's up, Ted? What's up to all the legends in the chat? So, yeah. I'll get into some of the other things I want to talk about, but we're going to kind of talk about the subject here. It's a generalized premise, and then we'll talk about how it applies. But we've seen them conditioning us for, of course, I'll read all the donations at the end. And if you have any questions there, I'll read them, and I'll try to read the chat. You guys know how it goes. So we keep on being like subliminally conditioned with this phrase, the Great Reset, the Great Reset. And I thought the picture was funny because we need to reset our cosmological interpretation as people. I still think that happens across the board, by the way. I don't know. I know some people may be kind of new to the channel, so they may even think flat Earth is just hard for them to even grasp or entertain as it could be real. I think a lot of us may have related to that. I don't know. Honestly, to me, I just like knew they were lying pretty quickly, but everyone's different. But anyway, so you're really going to think I'm crazy when I say, I know the Earth is flat. And they're actually going to come out and admit it. They're going to come out and admit the earth is flat. So what are you going to stand on then? So this is, I go around, I speak the truth about the earth. I want to wake people up. I actually prayed and fasted about it, right? When the way I say it is, Yah sat me down, basically. I was just doing whatever I wanted to do. Couldn't really tell me anything. I never ever felt comfortable with people like throwing dirt on the name of Yeshua. I wasn't big in religion. Now I know why. We're not supposed to be, dude. We should intuitively feel like it sucks, because it does. But anyway, I prayed and fasted about the earth thing, because I had been talking publicly about flat earth. Like, I never wanted to make a channel. I never wanted to make music. I love music, like, with everything in me, but I never wanted to make it because I just didn't like the idea of, like, oh, everyone's going to talk, like, everyone's going to look at you, or like you're supposed to stand on a stage or something. It's like, it just seems super lame to me. But I was real vocal. I'm like a real vocal person about what I think. And so I thought, okay, now I'm trying to reach people about Yeshua and the scriptures. And maybe I'm doing it a disservice, right? Like, does he want me going around saying that the earth is flat and then trying to tell someone about the scriptures and that Yeshua is real? You know, of course you think Jesus is real. You're a flat earther. And so I prayed and fasted, and he showed me quite the opposite, where I couldn't deny it, that I knew I actually had an obligation to do that. So that's why it will always be intertwined with what I do, because everyone's different, and everyone should seek out clarity or revelation from the Father themselves. But he gave it to me, and that's why if you guys haven't prayed and fasted focusing on the Creator, you're really dropping the ball there. It's a big deal. It really will help you out with some revelations, or to help you overcome some temptations that you have. So yeah, I tell people the truth about the earth, but I do know, at least this is how I feel, that will not save you in the Great Deception. I mean, actually, we know that, right? The Great Deception, which we're clearly in the season of the end for anyone with eyes to see, knowing that the earth doesn't defy physics isn't going to help you see through it. Now, a lot of people that frequent my channel, they hear me say it a lot, so I'm kind of being reiterative to some of you, but flat earth will not help you see through the Great Deception. It just won't. You know, they will double down on the globalize, so much so that they literally brainwash you. So say that you take the mark, you plug into this augmented reality, they literally can brainwash you at that point. They might literally make you think space is real, because they're actually physically manipulating your brain. Or I think that these metaphysical entities jump on the scene, and they tell us all about how they lied about basically everything. I still lean that way. Either way, I know the flat earth's not going to save you. So people need to realize that it's just the entrance way. It's in my opinion, our grandparents weren't really ready for that truth yet, or our parents, they weren't ready for that truth. We've had that truth forever. Then once the delusion happened, they weren't ready for some of the truth revelations that we've got. Like, we're kind of, it's a blessing to be in this time, honestly, because we inherited lies from our father. And since we inherited lies from our fathers, we're being blessed with the ability to see these deceptions. And I think that he just used flat earth as one of the many deceptions that he shed some light on, so he could bring people to him, and basically get us prepared for some of the truth bombs that are going to come. All I have to say, if there is a great reset, and guys, they don't just pump phrases out in your subconscious over and over and over for no reason. It's meticulously crafted. They've actually studied the brain and how it works for probably thousands of years, but we definitely know, even within intel agencies in the United States, a lot, with tons of resources and time over the last few decades. Literally study the science of your brain and how to manipulate how you make decisions and how you comprehend information and what you hold to be true to guide your actions. They've actually mapped it out. So they've done this phrase around all throughout the mainstream, which honestly I always get like secondhand, because I can't even watch or listen to mainstream things now. I feel physically sick. But anyway, so if you're going to create a great reset, you have to do away with the current system. So everyone, what I don't get, I guess, that I get frustrated about, it's like, I made a bunch of predictions about who would be in power, how it would look, and everyone's like, oh, look, you were wrong. I just haven't talked about it much because I still don't think I'm wrong. I still I still see the most efficient way to deceive the majority of people, and I still think it's going to happen. And it will happen by them washing their hands with the current system. That is the Great Reset. It's not just the simple idea of like, oh, they want to make a one world order. Well, yeah, they do, but they're going to literally reset the system in order to do this and to convince those right-wing gun, Second Amendment, right arm-bearing American patriots, to convince them to go along with the New World Order, to basically migrate past the Constitution or the amendments. You're going to have to expose the old system to such an extent that there is, in at least the mind of the public, no way it could be salvaged. Too much has come out. Now, as truthers, we know you can just read Operation Mockingbird. That should really be enough for you. They literally admit that they took over the mainstream media to brainwash you, and that agents are anchors. So they literally ran logistics and Operation Garden Plot on how if they could forcibly take over the United States, accounting for their weapons, and figured out that they could not do it logistically. Any entity that does, any type of logistics like that probably doesn't really care about you. So whenever these truths come out to these people that, honestly, they just shy away from truth, they'll want to get rid of the system. They're going to be like, I never knew that I was like within this house of lies. For me, I used to be an anarcho-capitalist, but now I know this isn't particularly feasible with America as a whole, right? Like, you should limit the government. But the thing is, like, we're not supposed to have rulers. It's another misnomer. People talk about Romans a lot. They don't account for the fact that you're missing a letter and it was a response letter and that he was talking to Romans. They don't understand the context really at all. And not to mention, even excluding that context, the way that it's represented where it says, do everything the government says, that isn't what it says. That's not what it's saying. So anyway, actually, right, like Israel insisted that they have a king. And Yah's like, no, you don't need a king. And he's like, but we want one. Everyone else has a king. No, you're not supposed to have a king. Okay, look, they're going to insist on having a king. Eventually, they're going to have a king. Look, he's going to have to do this and this and this and this. This is the stipulations. He doesn't want us to be rolled over. So, yeah, like we can have our own community detached from the beast system. We are in the end. There is no salvaging America. It is the beast system. It was built for the return of Nimrod. It's very obvious. Very, very obvious. That's why there were 13 original colonies, because Nimrod was dismembered into 13 pieces. The entirety of America, from the very origin of it, was created for this reason, for this time, for this purpose. And there is no saving it. Why would you want to save it? Why would you go lay in bed? You can't serve two masters. If you're believing the right or left, they're two wings to the same bird. That bird is the beast system. So if you're constantly obsessed with it, given any form of adoration, that's worship. You're worshiping the beast system. There is no salvaging America. You have a Make America Great hat. Burn it, please. That'd be great, because MAGA is the top level of satanic priesthood, and the system sucks. The fact that you believe anyone will stand on stage in front of you representing the beast system to help you is laughable. Detach from it. So there's no save America. My parents died for... We get it. We get it. And no disrespect, but the boomers are exhausting in this category. Like, it's so draining to talk to a boomer about how America sucks. But it does suck. It's the beast system. So anyway, all that being said, they're going to reset America. America will just be the spearhead. America will be used for the spearhead. It was like their chosen little Luciferian location. And so what they're going to do is they're going to basically put you through a few years. This is speculation. I don't know exact dates. Actually, no one does. But we do know the season. He showed me we were in the season a couple years ago. We are in the end. Buckle up your seatbelts. You ignoring it doesn't change it, just like if you think water bends convexly around the exterior of a spinning object in a vacuum doesn't make it true or even possible, right? We are in the end. And so, in my opinion, they're going to give you a couple years of just like this psychotic like breakdown of structure where it's like, what are we doing with our money? Again, this isn't your money. It's the money that the beast system stole from you, and you're supposed to let them have it. Okay, but wait, how are we spending our money? How is this going to stay afloat? Wait, we're letting who in the military? Well, we're defunding what? We're doing this. We're like, oh, we're going to literally ruin everything that we have, our entire infrastructure. This isn't sustainable. What are we doing? Regressive changes, but actually, of course, labeled progressive because they just think you're stupid. And so as they progress into this chaos, they will bring order. And they told you that. Right? They told you that it would be order out of chaos. That's what the current administration's role is. Their role is literally to be incredibly incompetent and to show you what's wrong with the overarching moves of the government, how much they're going to start taking from you, make you start like wishing you had certain types of freedoms and stuff like that. These are basic freedoms that you get from the Creator. You do not need another man to give them to you or even acknowledge them, okay? But they will pretend that somehow they're going to give them back to you as if they could have ever taken them in the first place. It's just mental jiu-jitsu. And really, dare I say, a lot of people are lacking like connection with Yah and the Father and like the spiritual connection that's going to give you discernment, because they're just playing with your mind and they're playing with your pride and your ego and your flesh, and then your pride and your ego and your flesh make people dumb. The carnal mind, in fact, is dumb, regardless of your processing speed or your stupid little IQ number the grabblers gave you. So anyway, then this figure is going to pop on the scene and be like, hey, you guys missed me? Did you miss me? Did you miss a little bit of order and reason? Right? Well, don't worry. I've been over here. I got some things in the works for you. Here's what they've been up to. Here's what they've been attacking me because I'm going to expose this and this and this and this and this. And the media system's gone. The economic system's gone. The current infrastructure of the United States updated entirely all around. It will be a great reset, right? And maybe they have to make some crazy things at least appear to happen so you can rise from the ashes. But via Hegelian dialectic, they're going to get the problem, reaction, solution of the people. And the solution will be the system that they've had in their pocket for a long time. And so then we can start looking into, now I'm going to try my best. I don't know. I don't keep up with what YouTube censors anymore, to be honest. So there's a certain foreign state that we know that apparently everyone has to worship, or they don't believe in the Bible because they don't read the scriptures for themselves. Because, of course, Israel is not a physical state. It is, in fact, a spiritual house of Israel, and you can be grafted in, and not everyone from Israel is of Israel. And Galatians 3:28 breaks it down blatantly, saying that there is no Jew nor Greek, nor bond, nor free. So there's no Jew, nor Greek, nor bond, nor free, nor male, nor female. We're all one in Christ, and if we're one in Christ, we inherit the seed of Abraham and the promises within. Not everyone from Israel is of Israel. And even in the Exodus, when they dipped out, Egyptians came with them, bro. Egyptians came with them. They were grafted in the entire time. It's a spiritual house. Okay, you're entering into a covenant, an agreement with the Creator, which a lot of gravy with that, because Hebrew actually doesn't say 10 commandments, it says 10 words, and then actually the word for the second tablet is a duplicate, like when you make a contract. So literally the Creator was giving us a contract, and there was a duplicate copy, just like when you make contracts now. But no, they just picked out 10 of the commands. Where'd you get those anyway? How do we don't have the Old Testament or the Torah anymore, but we're going to pick some of them out and say that these are the 10 you got to. It's a really crazy clown world. But anyway, so we been detached from the true contract, the fact that the contract's what's important, and then like sincerity and honesty, trying to follow the contract, adhere to your end of the contract, right? And now they're going to engineer the brand new society antithetical to the contract, antithetical to the stipulations of the contract more. So the contract is, at least from my current understanding, a 10-word phrase that has been removed, but can kind of be pieced together. Again, it literally says 10 words. It says words in Hebrew. Okay. And so they're going to create a society where the stipulations of the contract, which is the Torah, our instructions, they're going to engineer society directly opposite to all of that. So they're going to imitate, because they cannot truly create. So they're going to imitate the Jubilees, because there's a spiritual resonance to that. There's a spiritual power to that, like resetting. People can't get too powerful and too greedy and too strong to where they can hold other people down. You have to be fair. You yourself rest. You yourself let your land rest. And you also wipe the debt. There's this natural order that keeps everything going. And there's a spiritual resonance with it within the logos that exists, if you're following me. They clamp onto these things and they use them for their own self. And so they get everyone running around thinking they came from rocks. Like somehow that's intelligent. They think atheists are the stupidest people that exist, by the way. They literally think that it's the stupidest thing you could possibly ever think. But they've got most of the world think that because they won't realize some of these spiritual tricks are going on, or that they have spiritual, let's say, metaphysical power. So they're going to come and they're going to wipe everyone's debt. The entire economy will be reset. This is my prediction. I'm not claiming that I am a prophet and I was told to tell you this as a fact. I'm telling you, I was blessed with a couple things. I lack in some other fields. pattern recognition, I tend to be able to put together pretty well. If you read their literature, you know their end game, you see the patterns of behavior, you can kind of piece together what's going on. The most effective way to trick everyone is 100% a full reset by showing the errors in the current system, making them really long for any type of semblance of freedom, then have a hero figure come in and be like, bang. So one of the things that they say, and many people probably have looked into this, is that there was going to be the 3 world wars, and the third one would be between Israel and other countries in the Middle East. And that whenever Israel gets attacked, it will help do away with Christianity, because modern Christianity has been led to believe via the doctrine of men and the doctrine of men alone that Israel can't be touched. Those that bless Israel will be blessed, those that curse Israel will be cursed. We got to do whatever they say. They can't be touched. God's going to protect them. So whenever something happens to Israel, which we're actually told that happens, by the way. That's how backwards this all is. We're actually told that it happens, but they think that if it happens, that means God can't be real, because the God of the Bible would be protecting Israel. So if anything ever happens to him, then he must not be real. This is their actual plan, because if they create this conflict, sell it to the world, then they can get away with, they can like do away with Christianity, because people will be like, God didn't protect them. The Bible can't be right. This is what they think. They think that simultaneously after this, that both Christianity and atheism will be done away with, and that's when they can step in with their Luciferian doctrine to be presented. Now they're showing you this conflict right now. Even if I still think that this is the psychological operation warm up. I think that this is the trial run. I think that this is just like a trial run. I don't think this is their big move, and it's hard to grasp because they've just stepped over so many boundaries, but this is just a trial run in my opinion. And so they're getting that conflict, like the reality of that conflict, normalized in your subconscious right now, like with actual visuals, like stimulating visuals and emotionally filled, false binaries where people are just screaming 2 different countries why? Because you saw the news. You're screaming the name of a country because you were told to pick one of 2 and just scream them and then scream at each other about it. So like the gas thing, I think it's a psyop. Obviously it's a psyop. What I mean is, I think that the gas thing is just a warm up. Like, it's like, well, how bad will they fall for the gas? Okay, that was easy. How are they going to fall for the scare of a food shortage? Oh, look, they bought up all the food. That's coming next. Okay. Oh, look, we'll just show them that their vote doesn't matter. Look, they did nothing. So whatever they do this year is just a way of basically testing the water, see how much I need to work on for the Great Deception. And then the figure comes in. So I think that this is going to be a building conflict, or at least an illusion of. And of course, then this figure comes in and he's like, all right, we're going to have to sign a peace deal. And somehow he pulls off this miraculous peace deal against ideological adversaries, right? So the opposite spectrum of ideologies, they could never come together in peace talks. They want the same piece of land, supposedly, right? And they have a spiritual dichotomy here. There's no way. Somehow this figure comes and he gets them to sign a peace deal. So if they need a peace deal signed, then they need a conflict then come in on the heels of with the peace deal. So when does he come back? I don't know. Where does he come back? I don't know. When I say come back, that's obviously what I think. Yeah, I think that the psychopathic orange dude that doesn't grow any facial hair, I think that he might come back as the hero, right? Does he come back here? I don't know. Does he go back over there where they print his creepy little grabbler face all over coins? I don't know which one he does. He does ultimately have to go there according to the prophecies. But I think that right now we're just in this like gray area where we're getting desensitized. We aren't, but people are, and even we are. The truthers are fed up with like the whole air is going to kill you psyop. We're just like, it's just exhausting at this point. Like, we're all being desensitized as a byproduct of these psyops. And that is the primary goal, to desensitize you to major change, so that when they come in and usher in the major change, it won't be too much of a leap for you. Because if I had told you a year ago what's going to happen over this last year, what happened over this last year, you would have thought I was crazy. But now it's just a normal thing. And they can literally just say lockdown, and no one puts together, I think they're trying to take over. They're using the word lockdown, bro. They didn't even hide it. Okay. So they desensitized people so they can come in with a great reset. That's the whole point. And I think that the picture's fitting because it's a reset button on a globe. And I think that honestly part of it is that they reset the entire cosmological deception. I think that they admit that we're enclosed. They admit that the earth doesn't move, that they admit that fluid stacks necessitates water always finds its level. How could 70% of a ball be water? That's dumb. I think that they may not do this via the governments. I think that they may have some external source that does this, because logically people will be like, well, if you're telling me you've been lying to me this whole time, I'm not just going to blindly believe whatever you say. Now, many people will. Many people will. And that's very sad. But many people won't. They'll be like, wow, I didn't know you did all this. But if you're lying about all this, I can't trust anything you're saying right now. This is just your next psychological operation, right? So I think that they absorb the flat earth ultimately, but from an external source. And this is why I think that the whole UFO thing on June 1st, right? I don't think it's going to be as big as people think it is. I think it's literally, this is a kind of a gradual process where they're going to start talking about UFOs, and then it gives the window for the perfect justification for these entities to present themselves, because they have to step in, because you told humans what they weren't allowed to know yet, what they weren't ready to know yet. You've now told humans that we're up there, that we're whatever it is. They could say if there's a conflict between the good and the bad side, and that the good side is going to come team up with the humans to protect us, and they're going to pick a central figure so they can get world peace for us, and that they can fight off this threat. And they know all the secrets. And here's the truth: like, he's actually trying to help you. He's actually trying to help you. This is the only way you'll be able to make it. This government did this and this and this and this and this. We've known the earth was this and this and this and this and this for this long, right? Ancient civilizations were this advanced. There used to be giants. You were lied to about basically everything. If they start dropping truth bombs, but hitting you with some empirical evidence to support it, and it's coming from an external source that is under the illusion of being more advanced, and dare I say they will be metaphysically advanced compared to our carnal physical state, people will eat it up. It doesn't have to be an alien from an intergalactic planet a trillion light years away. It doesn't have to be anything like that. It can just literally, you just can't always see us, but we can make it where you can see us. We've been all around you, and we've been waiting on you. Maybe they admit that there's more land and they came from there. I don't know, but we've been waiting on you to be ready. You stupid humans, you got the cat out of the bag because you're impatient. You wanted to know about the phenomena going on around you. So now we have to step in and present ourselves to you so we can, prevent you from destroying yourself. Are aliens actually Nephilim? Well, some would argue that they're the watchers themselves. The Nephilim are the offspring. Do the Nephilim return in that scenario? I would say perfect time to bring back giants, because this is the first time in history that everyone hasn't known there were giants. Like Abraham Lincoln has a quote about giants. So this is the first time in like the history of mankind that everybody didn't know there used to be giants. We live in a crazy time. And that's when you really step back, dude. They did this in 100 years. Like 100 years, they detached people from every basic truth, and then it took a few generations, and now we're just wandering around with our Black Mirror phones. We have no idea what's going on. So yeah, giants would definitely baffle people right now. Metaphysical entities presenting themselves would definitely baffle people right now. If you were able to see a metaphysical entity then appear to transform into what we call UFOs and move around real crazy, you'd be like, oh wow, you're like tell me all the secrets. People don't have the foreground or the back knowledge, and this is why I think they took out Enoch, so that they can actually immediately know, no, this deception's happened before, and I'm not going. The giant white gingers. Dude, and one thing, and I want to look more into this, but I do think it's very possible, looking at the magnetic field, that we could have a missing landmass to sustain a dipole outside of the quadrupole in the center. It's very interesting. At least it's certainly hyperlogical that they have settled in some land that they've prevented us from going to see, right? Of course, you're not allowed to go past 60 south latitude, freely traversing it to explore it. You're only allowed to go on a approved guided tour, and they can even stop and intercept a tour and then seize the vessel, search it all with no warrant. I have globe zealots argue with me, and then I just read that off to them from U.S. legislation and subsequent legislation to the Antarctic Treaty, and then guys, you can't go there. They lied to you. They didn't let you go out there. They lied about the earth. You can't go to the center or the outside. Now, is there like some type of civilization? I don't know. But one thing that seems to be overlooked, and maybe I can get some help from some fellow truthers that are legends that want to look into this with me. Queen of the South and ends of the earth. These are phrases that you never were even told that were in the scriptures. At least they didn't ring a bell to me. The Queen of the South comes from the ends of the earth. Something to that effect. It's two different times in Revelation, maybe. So, do they have some little civilization where they deify some female, or at least pretend that she's so metaphysically advanced that that's who they worship? And then she presents herself and basically says, oh, look, this guy is the guy. I don't know. We live in a crazy world. Could they already be here just waiting to present themselves on another land? Very possibly. It may be a literal army. I know this is only for people with eyes to see and ears to hear. I lay no grave for them. Like, if you still think that 9/11 was legit and that a passport jumped out of fire, I mean, this is not the stream for you, bro. Like, I don't think you're ready for that. But yeah, I think that the Great Reset's coming, and it's every single aspect of your life, and it will be meticulously engineered, antithetical to the Torah, the instructions. All right, and so like with the beard thing, like I'm not gonna shave my beard again because, yeah, like if you read the Torah, man, like it talks about beards. Everyone had a beard, and like you were like it was like synonymous with the word elder in Hebrew language, and so yeah, and also for that, I had never grown a beard. I think I would never liked my beard. I'm like, yeah, right, bro. Like, no guarding it up. But I missed it when I shaved it back. The first time I ever grew it out, a lot of you saw it, and I shaved it. I literally missed it. I felt like something was missing, bro. Literally. It was wild. I never thought that would happen. Trust me. I used to hate my beard, bro. But I felt like something was missing. There's something spiritual to it, at least in my opinion. So they will say you can't grow beards, bro. They'll say you can't grow beards. And here's some gravy. I don't know if I've said this on here yet, but so Egypt, right? They had this thing where they would get everyone to shave their face. Like, no males had any facial hair. And then they would shave the sides of their heads, and even the females would do this. You know why? So that all the females and males would look the same, and you could just go around having sex with everybody. And there was one person in the society that had a beard, right? And it was the pharaoh. Just look at how they're depicted. Sometimes they'll have like their long beard come down. So the only real man, effectively, and they shave the heads of all the males and females and make sure they have clean faces, and they ran around just being psychopaths sunken in depravity. I think that they will use this whole, like, the air is going to kill you virology, which is just pseudoscience. Virology is pseudoscience. Look into it. The air is not going to kill you. That's dumb. But anyway, I think they're going to use that to say, look, like beards, and they've already started saying it, but I think they're really going to double down with like a rule that beards carry germs and stuff, and like you can't have a beard. Because it seems like the Torah wants you to have a beard. Like, I'm not saying it's like a requirement according to the Torah. I don't think that is necessarily the case, but I do know that like beards are very present throughout the entire Torah. And so they're going to be like, no, you can't grow a beard. You have to work on Shabbat. You have to input something to this utopian new world. And basically everyone will have plenty of money. You just got to do your own little parts to like be allowed in the system, to hold your weight. Like if you look at the Georgia Guidestones, right? Like I think that ideology is kind of what they'll say. Like, you know, you have to input to the system and don't let tradition, like, or basically religion or any superstitions outweigh your ability to do that efficiently. Everyone has to input and then avoid petty laws and useless officials and blah, 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 blah. So I think that they will actually say like that thing that we've decided that you have to do to help put into this utopian new world is you have to do that on Saturday, right? On Shabbat, on the real Sabbath. And of course, I told you guys, like I looked into it. A lot of people think the Sabbath bounces around. I went there. I thought about that. Thought it made a lot of sense. There's a little bit that makes sense, but it falls apart. And then I found out that actually they tried to change the 7-day week like 2-3 times, and they couldn't change it. So they kept it. They took it from the Hebrew people, which was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Shabbat. And then they just named them after a whole bunch of pagan deities, and then they flipped the Shabbat from the 7th to the 1st. So that was their trick, was to add pagan deities throughout the names when they weren't even named. They were just numbered to Shabbat, and then change it from the 7th to the 1st. And of course, absorbing that into the Roman polytheistic pagan culture that existed at the time. So I think that they will say, you can rest, and everyone parties on Sundays, but not on Shabbat. You better do your job, whatever it is, whatever they can get you to do. As long as you're not keeping it holy and actually not working and not making other people work for you and just resting. It's such an overbearing rule. How dare the Creator give you a whole day to rest so you don't get too tired? I can't imagine how we can ever manage just resting and chilling for a day. That sounds wild, huh, guys? Anyway, so they're gonna set it all up. It's gonna be Babylon again. It's gonna be an updated version of Babylon. And would I say this will be the most advanced civilization on the earth ever? When we say advanced, I mean, whatever. That's subject to interpretation. But I think Possibly, yeah. And the only thing that would hold a candle to it would be antediluvian, right? Just meaning pre-flood. So maybe what people say about Atlantis. I do think Atlantis was the headquarters for the one world order prior to the flood. A lot of evidence to support that within the elite literature. And you have to understand that these guys, they clamp onto some truth and then they taint them. They're special boys in their opinion because they have this information and this knowledge. You'll find it doesn't just come out of nowhere. They know the scriptures are real. They just actually think they can pull this off. That's the crazy part. And I broke that down in the duality stream of why they're so obsessed with transgenderism, because they read Genesis and the Hebrew etymology a little different than you were taught in Christian churches. So anyway, bringing it back 2.0. Babylon 2.0 for sure. What's up, Sue? It's gonna just think about what the Torah tells you to do. It's gonna be engineer the opposite. Like, and this is what I think too. So I think that they're gonna get where just no one even leaves their house. There is no more life. There's augmented reality. I can give you some sales pitches right now that the New World Order, the Great Deception, can come and offer the people. And right now, I'll be able to make it a clear enough picture. Most of the world's going to sell out. If you're being honest, because some of you in here, out of the 170 people, some people in here are going to have to think about it. If they're being honest, they're going to have to think about this sales pitch, which is not good. If you have to think about any of these, you don't have to voice it in the chat, guys. This is just be real with yourself. You need to think about it, okay? Because they're crazy, and this is just Austin coming up with it. So it could be way crazier than this. The session will be so great for possibly the very elect will be deceived, and the day shall be shortened for the elect's sake, for no flesh would survive. We have to persevere to the end, and we're converged upon. So say that these metaphysical entities present themselves, they acknowledge, well, they lied about the nature of the earth. It's actually a geocentric stationary plane. The sky revolves over top of you. It's contained. This is the only place to go. Some really powerful people have kept you from traversing the rest of the earth and seeing what it really is, and the governments are super corrupt. Right there, all the flat earthers don't really have much contention, do they? They don't really have anything to stand on. And then these metaphysical entities that come and they say, look, we have the ability to reverse cell degradation. So right now, you humans, you've yet to spiritually evolve into the state to where you'll take the state like us, and we used to basically be in a state like you, or even they'll claim to have made us or something. But we can reverse cell degradation, which is, of course, that's why we see what we call aging. Time is, of course, is a conceptual abstraction of, us quantifying passing, the idea of passing based on the sky and it moving, and that over time our cells degrade and then we age. And this is, of course, derivative of the fallen state. So we can reverse cell degradation. You won't age anymore. How many people can really turn that down? And not just like, oh, here's this like experimental thing. We hope it works. Like, they show you that it works. They show you from the jump. This is an advanced technology that comes from advanced beings, and they show you immediately people stop aging or even go back to, say, like a ideal age. The movie In Time, Justin Timberlake says it's 25, right? And I think that is conditioning you for certain aspects of the mark. They put time as their currency on the wrist, and time is 666. You have 60 seconds, 60 minutes, and then 24 hours, 2 and 4, 6. So maybe they toy with how long you can actually live. It does say that they will long for death and it will flee them. So anyway, if they show some actual substance to the idea of cell degradation, most people right there, they're out. You know why? Because they live in fear. They're not right with the Father. They haven't humbled themselves. They don't know Yeshua is real and the one true mediator to the Father, and that he serves as our atonement, our bridgeway to the Father. They haven't humbled themselves. None of this is real to them. So they live in fear. If somebody walks up to me with a burner, I'm not tripping, bro. And I weigh 160 pounds, bro. It's not, I honestly don't fear. What's the worst that can happen? Like, I die. That's literally not anything to be scared of. But most people can't even comprehend when a believer says that, because they think they're just saying it, right? They don't think they really mean it. But if you live in fear, and fear of death specifically, cell degradation will get most people. Now you're facing it. You're looking to the face of starvation, also fear of death. Look, this is going to be a reoccurring theme here. It's always your fear that makes you vulnerable and weak and potentially deceivable. So if you're looking into the face of starvation, you can't buy, sell, or trade without this mark, even if it's just an invisible tattoo that ties you into this augmented reality system where basically no one even leaves. And you can be satiated without actual food, whatever it is. If you can't get food to survive, most people will sell it right there, right? Even fight or flight to protect their children. If they don't have the spirit guiding them, then their flesh will fight or flight. That's why I said deception will be so great if it were possible, even the elect would be deceived. You need the Spirit. You need the Spirit to see through it and to persevere, because you're like, I have children. They're going to starve to death. I have to provide for them. Not, I can go out into the wilderness where he leads me because I'm going to pray and fast, and I'm going to take this group of people, and I'm going to protect these women and children until I die. And I know that Yah is going to provide for us, just like he did for Israel in the scriptures. But most people can't, right? They're just going to be like, we don't have any Hot Pockets left in the stores. Oh my gosh. And all they have to do is get on CNN and Fox News and both say, there's a food shortage. The food trucks can't make it. And every grocery store in America will empty out overnight. They tell you can't enter without this mark. That's why they're scanning your wrist and forehead to get you ready for it. They're just literally normalizing the infrastructure. They're desensitizing you to the infrastructure of the beast system with the mark of the beast. It's very obvious what's happening. So you don't have any food, access to clean water. People sell right there. They're going to say, we're going to wipe the debt. Okay. Now all these people have debt, college debt, student loan, or associate, like student loans, car loans, mortgages, all kinds of debt, credit card debt. We're going to wipe your debt clean. We're going to wipe the debt of the entire economy clean. The economic structure of the United States, it will be wiped clean, right? And it's effectively imitation jubilees, a beast system jubilees. And they'll come in and they'll offer like tangibility of wealth. So they're like, look here, gold and silver actually backs this. This is on a new digital currency platform where there's privacy of transaction. Everything's encrypted. You'll never get stolen from again. No one can ever hack your bank account again. That's archaic, which it should be archaic. It actually is archaic. We still use the same processing technology from like the 80s. Like we haven't progressed at all. They did this on purpose to create a huge gap so they can come in and give you the updated system where you'll want it. And because if you got it a little bit as you went, you'd be like, no, that went too far. So they try to make these occasional leaps, and anyway. So like here's this new digital currency transaction system, and it's super fast, super cheap, and it's backed by actual tangibility of wealth. If you wanted to go get gold and silver, you can. Maybe they give everyone a piece of land even. I don't know about that though. I think there's something really, really powerful. There's a really powerful spiritual resonance to having land. That's why, like we're promised land in the millennial reign. So I would doubt they give us land. Actually, I'd love to stack people on top of each other in little concrete like death boxes. But yeah, so these are just a few of the things that they can come present, like resetting your debts, telling you that you won't get sick anymore, you won't age anymore, potentially that you won't die anymore. You won't have to make the hard decisions about how you're going to continue to eat or provide for your family because now you're allowed in the system. Just these alone, they tell you that if you take this little invisible step that's invisible to the naked eye, that it will actually allow you to telepathically communicate. And they'll unite the world with a single new living language, which should sound familiar. It's on the Georgia Guidestones. And it's telepathy. And basically, Babylon, one language broken up. They want to rebuild Babylon. They're like, how can we get around that he broke up the languages? Telepathy. Telepathy is how they could get around it. And they want to rebuild the system. So it says that they want to have one single new living language. Living meaning it can constantly be updated. Like Latin's a dead language. There is no killing the language of telepathy. It always updates relative to whoever's sending and receiving information. So it would be a new living language, and it would subvert the Father's intervention of changing languages. But when we go around it now, we won't even audibly speak. It'll be telepathic communication. And a bunch of these things will just get people, they made men weak where they don't even know the importance of going and getting a wife and making children and not being a gamma male, where they can't, like women are repulsed by them. And that's why we have a bunch of women that are running around acting crazy because we don't have any strong male leadership anymore. And they'll say, look, dude, this will feel like you're really having sex. She's going to be a baddie. Here's a dime piece for you. Pick them out. You can't even tell the difference. It feels like you're really having sex. And then boom, you got all the gamma males. That's why they made them all weak. You're supposed to have sex like with your wife with the purpose of making children. So they want you to be sterile, right? Everything that the Torah says, they're going to, actually do it the opposite. They're going to engineer it the opposite. And they're gonna give you some replacement of the fleshly sensual satisfaction and convince everyone we cannot keep making people. We gotta stop making people, and people will think that they're doing it for the good of the utopian new world, and they'll stop making babies. The reason that they'll convince the people to do this though is because the Torah tells you to be fruitful and multiply. The entire system is being engineered right now to be antithetical to the instructions. Right now, we're being engineered to just accept them in the future. We're being desensitized to major infrastructure updates. So when the real big one comes in, no one is really taken so far off guard that maybe, I don't know, they stand up. So, yeah, I'm not a doomer or anything like that. Like, I just think that we should be realistic. You're not taking America back. Stop sticking your chest out talking about America first. You sound dumb. You sound dumb. You're basically saying Nimrod first. I'm specifically praying for everyone here, especially those who have children, that Jehovah would sustain us during these times. I know it's about to get real, but he will astound us with his signs and wonders. Dang, bro. Well said. Infinity split to 456. Thank you for the super chat. My man, much love. Always helping a brother out. And yeah, that's well said. That's what it is, man. We have to like stay dedicated and real and know that like he will intervene on our behalf. You have to know that. And basically, the real hard part of it, even for me to wrap my mind around it, is we're going to have to accept some of the people we really want to get it, that we really want to wake up, that we really want to make sure get out of the system before it clamps down on them. They're not going to heed the message. They're not going to hear you. And it says father will turn on son and mother-in-law and daughter-in-law, right? Like, prepare yourself for that, because that can be a major weakness you have, because the heart is the most deceitful above all things, and like your emotional connection to your family or reluctance to accept that some of them won't hear you out can actually make you spiritually vulnerable, because it is ultimately always in your hands. It's always your decision to make. You have free will till the end. No, you don't jump out of the womb and get splashed with some water by a pedophile and now you get to do whatever you want to forever. That's not what it says. Bioweapons, nothing like that can touch you. Like if there are plagues, they can't touch you. You got the seal of Yah. That's what everyone's focus should be on. Not really as much like how it happens. I do this to try to wake people up. Like maybe if I'm right about these things, they start to see it happening, there'll still be a grace window there where they can still get right with the Father, right? Like that's why I do this. I know the deception could be way greater than anything I could even speculate. But I've thrown out some pretty crazy things to you right now that, if we're being honest, most of the world will fall for. Another thing that's very interesting is it says when they take the mark, it'll put the light in them out. It'll put out the light. Well, what do they have? A quantum dot tattoo delivery system for inoculation, and it tracks the Lucifer rays enzyme, which is the light activity in your body. Maybe it's tracking the light until they fully put it out. Yeah. And, they say there's a spark during conception whenever you're made. They say that they isolated the activity in your brain that lights up like a Christmas tree, which is screw Christmas trees, actually. Never mind. It doesn't light up like some representation of the male anatomy of Nimrod. That's really weird. But it just lights up. There's a lot of activity in your brain whenever you have a true spiritual experience, specifically those with the scriptures, by the way. That's actually what the data shows. The data actually shows that it's different. Anyway, because it also says like if your heart's sincere, he'll hear you and he'll examine the sincerity of your heart, the authenticity, the pureness of your heart and your intentions. If you call him the wrong name, for example, you just have to keep on trying to find the truth and he will reveal it to you. Anyway, so they think that they can isolate a certain portion of this that lights up. So using the tracking of light activity in your body, and they think that they can manipulate a certain part of your genetic sequence, where it'll actually nullify that spiritual response. So, and this was even written in a novel in like the 1800s, dude. Yeah, we officially live in clown world, guys. In a world where they literally write down everything that they're gonna do in science fiction novels, and then they just laugh as no one puts it together. Yeah, they wrote this in like the 1800s. And actually, someone wrote in the 1800s warning about this. But you know how people are; they don't heed the warning. 1984 was a warning, not a story. He couldn't say too much. He couldn't go out there too boldly. He was afraid he'd die. He had intel information. He was on the inside for a little bit, so he wrote a science fiction novel to warn you. And the elite have no problem with that out there. They think it's funny that they can tell you what's coming, and then you do it. Actually, natural law gives them a benefit to do that. So, yeah, that's pretty much my take. I think that we shouldn't try to prepare in the carnal mind to see the great deception. I think it's beneficial to try to help people out. It's always beneficial to build in knowledge, but know that you cannot lean upon your own reason to see through what's coming. And guys, I went and saw the Starlinks launch, and I already know they can deceive the whole world with just visuals, just awe-inspiring visuals in the sky will deceive the world. That's all they got to do. I watched it live, and it was just one thing, and to me, I knew it was fake and stupid, and I'm just thinking the whole time, like, is this really supposed to be going super fast? Because it looks like a stupid balloon, and it's just levitating there for like 30 full seconds. This is retarded. But it's really, really bright, and it's just captivating. And if stuff like that's all in the sky all of a sudden, the whole world won't look down. The whole world will be deceived. And whatever those things tell you, they'll believe it, especially if it's on the hill of something that seems to be tragic. And so I know you guys think that you can look right into the projector screen and you'll be able to see all through it. No, you yourself will not. You will need the Spirit. You'll need the Spirit of discernment. And then, yeah, you can see through all of it. It's good. Just like right now to you, when you've discovered the truth about the earth, when you see a globe earth cartoon that NASA shows you, like an animated GIF, you're like, this is so stupid. Like, I can't believe I ever believed that. Like, and when you hear a story about space, you see right through the nonsense immediately. Or someone tells you that a passport jumps out of fire, right? Like a passport like escapes a fire unscathed, and it's coincidentally the bad guy that they needed. Easy as to see these deceptions that the air doesn't kill you, and then they lift mandates and people are still scared of the air. That's what it'll be like for you with the Spirit in the great deception. You'll be able to see through it, and it'll be abundantly clear to you, but not because of you. Not because of you. It's because of the Father, the Spirit. And of course, yeah, I know I'm not big on the Trinity, the equivocation of the Trinity, which is not. No, when it says like what people call the Holy Ghost or the Holy Spirit, which I don't have a problem with the Holy Spirit as much, because what we're talking about, it's not a separate entity though. It's like it says in Hebrew, like the Spirit of Yah. Like Yah puts people on, like he wears them. So. Yeah, like the Spirit. The Spirit. Yah's Spirit. And not Holy Ghost. No, that's weird. That's some occultic nonsense nowhere in the scriptures in their actual form. And look, I'm not like legalistic about these things, because dude, I was chilling with Chris like last night, and I was going looking for a picture of this Antarctic Treaty, and that I had a long time ago where I outlined it, like subsequent legislation from like 2012 or something. And I see some of my old videos, and I'm just like, oh man, like me listening to them now, I'm saying Jesus like every other word, and I say Yahweh, and now those things like low key trigger me, not really. Like I know that the intention is hands down the most important thing, but now I just hear me say Jesus like 50 times in 2 minutes, and I just want to throw my iPhone across the room, But it's just like a growth. It's just a growth. I'm not like legalistic about it. It was the reason that I'm telling you that. Like I'm not. But yeah, I found out that Yahweh actually tracks back to Jupiter. So I don't want to say that, like, because that's where it comes from Jupiter. Like I don't want anything to do with the name attributed to Jupiter. That's a hard pass for me. And honestly, what I've found out is every single time that the mainstream Christian church uses a certain phrase, it's almost wrong. Seems Jehovah's Witnesses were much more right about the name, at least. Right, they're definitely wrong, but they couldn't let them be right about everything. And it's a Yah, right? It's not a Jah. There's no J, but Yehovah. Anyway, that's where I'm at. Anyway, you guys know I'm just transparent about the stuff that I figure out. I'm not legalistic about it. I always have someone in the comments though talking about how I'm working for the enemy. I'm pulling people away from the true salvation. And no, bro, no. What I'm just doing is I'm just being transparent about my growth, because maybe people can relate. And that's what I feel called to do. And he doesn't want us to throw away the Torah. It says the opposite. And when Yeshua was actually asked about the commands, it was asked in the context of all the commands. What commands were they talking about? And they will actually take that. And when he says, like, love your neighbor like yourself, like, oh, he replaced them all. No, he was asked in the context of the commands. Like it was known those were still there and always there and will be there till the very end. And so heaven and earth cease to exist. Is heaven and earth still here? I think earth is still here. The instructions are still applicable and relevant until the end of everything. That's what it says. So people don't want to hear the truth, but like, bro, I don't care what you think. I didn't let anywhere I grew up, everyone I grew up around who claimed to be Christian stop me. I didn't let churches stop me. modern interpretations of the Bible stop me. I didn't let job offers stop me talking about the earth or the scriptures. You're not going to stop me on YouTube commenting. So if I think iron sharpens iron. I think we're actually encouraged to have some like spirited exchanges regarding the scripture so we can figure it out. I think he gives revelations to his children so that when the men, not just men, but when they come together, when his children come together, that they actually present the revelations together, understanding it, putting the context, and so he can get the message out more efficiently to bigger groups of people that way. If you're following me, like true spiritual revelation can be like too much to handle. If people have experienced that, it's like, whoa, like that makes a ton of sense, but let me just take this in. He couldn't just hit you with like 5,000 back to back, but he could hit 5,000 people with one, and then if they'd all go talk. So that's kind of how I think that works, and that's what the importance of fellowship is. And it isn't about a building. It isn't about being tax exempt. It isn't about any of that nonsense. It isn't about wearing a tie. I think that Yeshua would check you if you were wearing a tie, bro. He'd immediately check you, like, bro, what are you doing, bro? Why are you wearing a tie, getting your head and your forehead and wrist scanned as you walk in this stupid Babylonian church with engraved images everywhere, claiming that it's me with a different name, and it's on the Sunday, and you give your money to you're tax exempt, so you gave your authority to the government, and you're selling coffee in there. There's literally the one time Yeshua was infamous. Even atheists know that he flipped the tables, and you're selling things in the church, like. So for me, this is the breakaway. Where those that really want to seek the truth, one thing I do know, not that Austin has it all figured out, far from it. A lot of people know a lot more than I do about the scriptures. A lot of people, a lot more. But one thing I do know for a fact is that those truly seeking the truth and truly trying to follow the Father, and he's giving them revelations, he's showing them what's wrong with the modern church and that they're apostate and that he did not do away with the Torah. And we're all being shown that. And we're all being shown be able to find a way to be self-sustainable. Get with your fellow brothers and sisters, and many of us are being shown that. So I'm going to stick with like what the Father shows me, and what he's showing me is it's time that we get back to the instructions as a house of Israel, as a house of believers, so that we can be adequately prepared for what's coming. We should have never gotten away from it because it keeps you adequately prepared for life and for temptation and for deception and for the intrinsic ability to fall that has to be overcome, right, with diligence. And these instructions help you stay on the right path. They should have never been done away with. We need them now, though. We are in literal desperate need. We always needed the instructions. So don't take what I'm saying out of context. But we are in such desperate need of them right now, because that's what's going to help you survive. It's what's going to help keep you distinguished from the Babylonian system. It's what's going to allow him to protect you in these times. No, you don't check off your Torah list and then you earn salvation at the end. One day you finally made your Torah checklist. Now you're good. No one's saying that. It says that our works are like filthy rags. But, if there are no fruits, then it's not a legitimate salvation. It's not legitimate. So you can try to overcomplicate this. You can try to self-project onto me that I'm condemning people, that I'm jeopardizing them. No, I'm telling you, read the scriptures for yourself. Don't listen to men. Pray for yourself. Ask for discernment. And then read the words of the Messiah himself. And he straight up tells you, do not think I came to abolish, but rather to fulfill, meaning he lived them perfectly. You have to tell me fulfill means abolish, and that the Messiah isn't quite as smart as you and your preacher. And when he said abolish, he should have used a different word, because he actually meant abolish and do away with. Whenever he said, do not think I've come to do away with them, to abolish them, he actually meant that he was abolishing them. So it's almost globe earth dumb. And that's what you'll find is all the deceptions, dude, when you really like try to apply intellectual honesty and step back and just try to be humble and look at the evidence. Most of these big deceptions are really dumb. They're actually dumb. And so I used to when I was younger, I kind of like, because I was like 13 when I found out that 9/11 was wildly misrepresented. I started thinking like why does the creator let this happen? Like, why does when you start to get down to it, it's like, whoa, dude, we were just given over to our own delusion because of our own pride and ego and devotion to flesh, because water doesn't bend, bro. When you go outside, you're not moving. It's not some giant equation or something that it's not like complicated. You're not moving. The sky moves over top of you, bro. Like, no. The sky's still. It just looks like it's moving because you're feeling that you're still, but you're actually moving. So that, I mean, it means Yah created everything to confuse us from the jump, right? Like, oh, dude, everything looks flat, but it's actually curving. It's just too big. It doesn't feel like you're moving, but you're actually moving. It looks like the sky's moving, but it's actually still. Like, oh, that looks like a sun. That looks like a star. Those are actually the same thing. They're trillions of light years away. Oh, I can see all the stars. They reset for all recordable history. Well, some of those aren't even there anymore. They're traveling with thousands of light years. It's when you actually wake up to the deceptions, they're so dumb. They're so dumb. And so that's how I feel about a lot of the modern Christian doctrine. And I don't in any way feel like hesitant to say that. I don't care what you think about it. If you're going to come at me sideways, it's going to make me think less of you, honestly, because I just know my intention's pure and I'm nowhere close to perfect, not claiming I am, but I want to strive for that. I want to strive for perfection in the sight of Yah. I want to do what he wants me to do. And yeah, modern Christianity's missing the mark, and they're going to actually go grovel for the mark because of this. So a lot of these preachers you're looking up to, they're going to take the mark, bro. We couldn't be, guys, don't worry. He's going to say to the congregation, don't worry. This is not the mark because we wouldn't even be here. Because the pre-tribulation rapture, we know this isn't the mark. There will actually be people saying that. Trust me. Proverbs 25:2 is the glory of Yehovah to conceal a thing, but the honor of kings is to search out a matter. I sometimes think Yah is allowing the evil one to deceive, only to reveal the lie later. Yeah, dude, I like that. I like that line of reasoning. That's one of my favorite verses, bro. Thank you, Infinity Slid at 446 for the support again, too, my man. It's the glory of Yehovah to conceal a thing, with the honor of kings is to search out a matter. Like, I love that. I love that because people want to say, what's it matter? We shouldn't look into this, blah, 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 blah. Have you read the scriptures? Hold steadfast and prove all things to be true. Yeah, modern Christianity and their preachers are missing the mark, and that's why they're going to take the mark. The ones missing the mark, getting the mark, bro. Take it or leave it. They're already taking the genetic modification and wearing oxygen inhibitors. Dang, bro, we skirting around the algorithms out here. Yeah, dude, a lot of people have already been handed over to the delusion, and they have a hardened heart. It's a sad time in lots of ways. I honestly, one of the things that like Yah really had to work on me was like letting it go. Like, no, they're in my family. They're gonna get it. No, some people don't get it, man. Like, no. I want to help everyone, though. I'm gonna wake up everybody. I never wanted to make music, so I don't like the idea of everyone looking at me, but I'm gonna drop a super fire mixtape that just glitch out the matrix, and now I'm gonna wake up everybody. They may take me out, but you can't wake up everybody, man. You can't wake up. There are people alive that Yeshua could come speak to himself, and they would argue with him, saying, no, but the earth's in a vacuum. Like, not everyone can hear it, bro. It's actually very detrimental to your productivity on behalf of the kingdom to not accept that. Let the dead bury the dead. I had to learn it myself. It was one of the things I struggle with. I'm like, no, I can get them. Like, look, man, it's not how it works. Try, though. Try, plant the seed, but don't just don't just go stare at the seed every day. You know, like I have people that are like, I just can't get my uncle to figure this out. I've been talking about the earth. He just won't. I'm like, you talk to your uncle every day, bro. Imagine if you had to put that much time into just talking to people that were actually open-minded and maybe were ready for the truth. You would have woke up 1,000 people. But no, you've hit your uncle in the head 1,000 times, right? It's like, let it go. Plant the seed, but don't just sit there with your rake just staring at it for a few months. That's stupid. Some of them aren't going to grow. Special boys don't like Yeshua. Nah, of course not. Because if there's some type of metaphysical hierarchy they have to adhere to, they're not too special anymore. They'd much rather to be nothing and then to be drowned into nihilism and apathy, that at least within that materialistic confinement, they can be special. They can be like, they can do whatever they want to, right? But atheism will be done away with, that's for sure. Modern Christianity will be done away with. And I mean like the modern misrepresentation of Christianity. That's why, like, really, people need to watch my streams to understand why I say things the way I do, but I'm not going to change them. Like, Christianity is a term that was created as a derogatory term. Should we absorb it and fight for it? Yeah. Like, when someone asks me if I'm a Christian, I don't just blatantly say no and then not answer why I say no or anything. Yeah. Like, when people say Jesus, I say his name was Yeshua. I don't just say, like, who's Jesus? Like, who's this? Like, I don't act like, I don't like badmouth the misrepresentations of it, whatever. But yeah, modern Christianity, right? Modern Christianity, the apostate church, it'll be done away with. Atheism will be done away with. So what does that mean? That a metaphysical truth comes in to fill in the empty vessel that is the current society, because they are nihilist. They think that everything came from nothing. They think there's nothing outside of the material world. They think that their dreams are just their minds playing tricks on them, and they're really our brain. That's why they like, we don't understand the brain. Well, yeah, you're never going to fully understand the brain. They can't even explain how the eye works, but they know a lot more about the brain than they would like you to know. And it uses a certain eye to see inside of a certain realm, which is really just like a spectrum of vibration that your eyes don't see. It's still all there. It's not like you have to go to sleep for it to be there. No, it's always there. Just your eyes only see a certain spectrum of vibration. And when they come and represent this truth and with some deception, people are so emptied out that they're just going to absorb it. Atheism will be done away with. Israel, let's just say, Israel's going to take some damage. A lot of people will be like, oh, they didn't protect them. So anyway, and yeah, the Great Reset comes on the heels of at least some orchestrated geopolitical disagreements, we'll say, and famine. And these things, we're told about these things. I can't present exactly how it's going to happen, but I do think that they really show you how much you lost with the previous leader, which I only have one leader. It's not some dude who just, I don't think he's ever even grown facial hair, bro. Like, something's weird about him, bro. Something's fishy about this guy. I mean, of course, except for the fact that he has like Apollo worship all over the 66th floor, and he's like literally looked up to the sky one time and said, I am the chosen one. On the same day he retweeted that Israel looks at him like the second coming of God. And he doesn't have to ask for forgiveness. And he brags about Operation Warp Speed. And he's printed on like the psychopathic geopolitical state's coins talking about anointed, which in Hebrew is Moshiach, which means Messiah. And Trump is literally, like, if you look back in time, it's a little horn. You got trumpet, then the little version of it was called a trump, little horn. And he just coincidentally Assyrian. And he just coincidentally has the whole modern Christian church going apostate and worshiping him. Oh, it couldn't be this guy because the left hates him. That means they worship him. Yeah, that's a very strong emotion, hatred. If you're obsessed with someone and constantly think about them and constantly speak about them, you're worshiping them. He represents the beast system. They'll represent some spiritual evolution or truth, and they'll be like, look, you need this guy back or you're going down. We had to intervene to save you guys. Here you go. And it says the 10 kings will give their power over to him. What could that mean? Could it be like 10 chiefs of like 10 leaders, right? Like maybe what they mentioned in Enoch, and then they stamp this little psychopath Trump. I don't know, but there you go, guys. That's what I think. So yeah, that's basically was my recap, right? So like everything will be reset, and they're telling you the phrase straight up to your face, but they always do that. I mean, Disney shows you that they're trying to build a tower through the firmament, bro. They always put it right in front of you. Like, but yeah, they're going to try a great reset, and it's going to be economic. The media structure is going to be done away with. Like governments around the world, the current government around every country, that's going to be done away with. America's infrastructure done away with. Yeah, the way that we buy and sell done away with. Communication, current forms of communication done away with. It'll be a different world, man. And so I would say, whatever they say that you can't do, check it with the Torah, and it's probably going to be in there that you should do it, and then go do it. That's all I'm saying. Like, I literally feel a spiritual connection to hair that grows on my face now. I will never cut it off. I might like not let it get like crazy long or something, but there's something to it. You think the one in Dubai is a test run? Can you really fill all those floors? I'm not sure what you're talking about. I don't keep up with Clown World. If that's something in the news, I would have no idea. What do you think they get in return for abortion? How does that practice give them power? Child sacrifice, thousands of years old. How does it give them power? That's an interesting question, but it's basically just a pure form of blasphemy, stripping the innocence, taking advantage of the innocence of a child. And of course, we all know the verse, like, if you are to lead one of these little ones astray, it's better you have a millstone tied around her neck and be thrown to the depths of the sea. And so they're not just leading them astray, they're actually murdering defenseless babies. And they've convinced an entire generation of people, certainly in America, that somehow that isn't child sacrifice, but it literally is. What do they get from it? I think that there's power. There's actually a metaphysical aspect to blood itself. And if it's innocent, it's powerful. That's why Yeshua's blood was so powerful for our atonement. So that's my take. I think that they just take advantage of some of this, the natural law and order of the way everything was made. It's definitely, the innocence is a big deal. Talmud straight up tells you, like, oh, they're over 7, forget it. We won't get into that disgusting literature right now, though. That's a whole different stream. What do you think about suicide? I think it's like the weak way out, and I don't really like to talk about it. I can't wait to catch some, I'm just going to say Jehovah's Witnesses. But Jehovah's Witnesses slipping in my hood, I'm going to run up on them right quick and be like, yo, bro, what you know about the geometric horizon, though? I'm just saying, though. There's levels to sin. All right, man. I'm not the arbiter of severity of sin. I just know that we're not supposed to sin. And we should just listen to the creator of all things. He probably knows what he's talking about, you know? A Talmud stream would be gravy-licious. Yeah, dude. That's got Rockfin written all over it, bro. But I'll show you, I mean, we all know basics, right? Like the Talmud is the oral teachings, but they ended up writing them down. They're not just oral, but yeah, they're the oral traditions and teachings, and rabbinic, which just means coming from a rabbi, interpretations over the course of hundreds and hundreds of years. And their favorite one, the primary one, is the Babylonian Talmud. You can't even make it up. Like, it's literally called the Babylonian Talmud. And they know they can't change one jot. This is their belief, that you can't change one jot or tittle of the Torah, which they're right. You can't. And I thought God would preserve his word. Yeah, he did, just not in the stupid English version of it. So calm down. And he still did anyway. But you still have to do a little diligence to really get down to the meat and potatoes of it. So they know they can't change it. They actually think that it is the fabric of the entire universe, and that the universe will effectively cease to exist if they are to change the instructions. So with even a jot or tittle. So what they do is they write the Talmud via the compilation of oral teachings over hundreds of years. They write them down, they study them, they teach them to read it before they read the Torah so that they can accurately interpret the Torah, quote unquote. And of course, it's just adding to it, changing it, proposing antithetical things. There's even a story in the Talmud about how the creator apologized to one of the rabbis about being wrong. It's like the craziest, most twisted, manipulative nonsense. Low-key condones pedophilia. But some will say it doesn't. So just for the stupid people at YouTube, like, maybe it doesn't. It clearly does seem to do that, but maybe it doesn't. Because we all know this is the protected class, right? So anyway, they know there's power in it, man, but they just twist it, and they've twisted the modern version of Hebrew. Like, the modern version of Hebrew is Babylonian cuneiform. So they've actually twisted the entire language. They give it to you in Babylonian version. Every single thing that's printed in Hebrew is Babylonian. And there's just the Babylonian Talmud. They're just like obsessed with Babylon. They're psychopaths, man. Georgia Guidestones make it very clear. I never really even put it together or thought that much of them. I thought it was maybe kind of a troll. I went in person, dude. I immediately decoded them. Immediately knew what it was about. It's very obvious. If you go in person and you just look at it, it's very obvious what it's saying. It's just showing you that they want to rebuild Babylon. Like, it's very immediately, all the languages make sense to you when you're there. You're like, oh, because all the languages were broken up from Babylon, the one that's right there and on the top and in the front. It's pretty true. All right, guys. That's my stream. I love you guys. But I gotta use the bathroom. And I could stay a little bit longer, but I'd have to like play my music for a second. Oh, I know what we're gonna do. Okay, so I've been telling my boy QE. I doubt that my man's just stayed in here for this long, though, if he's here. But anyway, I'm gonna play one of QE's numpty clips because they're pretty funny. And that's my homie. He's always putting in hard work for the flat earth. And I think you guys should go support him. So, yeah, dude, Quantum Eraser on YouTube. Go check out the Numpty clips. He has one that's premiering soon, and they're pretty funny. And these are people typically with credentials, with like a PhD or something, arguing in the depths and the trenches of the Globe Earth debate, and just saying incredibly stupid things. And that's the best they can do when you're forced to defend a lie. It inevitably happens, but anyway, yeah, let's check it out. I'm gonna play one of the videos, and I'm gonna go use the bathroom. But I will be back in just a second. I'll finish watching it with you guys. In a world.
Bernard Goober, grandiose Dunning-Kruger delusional disorder, F-22 code master, the rumpus, back from nailing his How to Become a Delusional Globe-Tard Goober in 13 Quick Steps thesis to the Little Lebowski Urban Achievers preschool door and the subsequent mass casualty incident from tear-jerking belly laugher syndrome. In the words of one Little Lebowski Urban Achiever who was just resuscitated, summarized the entire ordeal, exclaiming, "Obviously, he's not a golfer." The 13 quick steps responsible for the massacre are understanding that air is not the atmosphere. You don't have to be conscious to make an observation. You don't need to have a cause to establish a cause and effect relationship. The second law of thermodynamics doesn't apply to the earth. There's no such thing as natural laws. You just made that up. Pendulums go around in a figure eight. Measuring things is not maths. Gases effectively have little springs on them, pulling them towards the earth. The lens of the human eye is concave. Gases are solids. The ball has velocity upwards and an acceleration downwards. Gases are running around in all directions, but they're going down. And finally, it's not a visual horizon, but it is visible. Now on a PR campaign to feebly divert away from the Little Lebowski Urban Achiever massacre with the slogan,
"Just when I think you couldn't possibly be any dumber, you go and do something like this and totally redeem yourself."
Tour, May 2021.
I'm the person telling you how reality is, and I'm always right. Understand the difference between entropy and the second law of thermodynamics?
There's no difference between the second law of thermodynamics and entropy, you amphibious rodent. From Simply Science, Thermochemistry, the second law of thermodynamics, the entropy law or law of entropy, was formulated in the middle of the last century by Clausius and Thomson. From his alma mater wiki, the idea that the second law of thermodynamics or entropy law, yada, yada, yada. From hyperphysics.edu, Georgia State University, title of the section, the second law, entropy. From John Simmons, PhD, Physiology, title of the paper, the second law of thermodynamics, law of entropy. If you would have stated there's a difference between daytime and sunlight, it would have been more coherent.
Entropy just simply tells you how disordered something is.
Fatality.
No, it doesn't. You treat objects like women. From the legend, Professor Lambert, entropysite.oxy.edu. This view was broached partially in a previous article that showed disorder was outmoded and misleading as a descriptor for entropy. Footnotes 1 and 2. Again, from Professor Lambert, entropy is not disorder, not a measure of disorder, not a driving force. From Chem Libre text, there is no basis in physical science for interpreting entropy change as involving order and disorder. Stating entropy talks about disorder is akin to Max Planck describing the ultraviolet catastrophe as stop, drop, and roll. It's belly-laughingly juvenile proby and demonstrates beyond any doubt, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, that we have a stage 5 clinger, kung fu death grip, globe-tard, wiki-parroting goober of megalithic proportions.
You big dummy. Energy and position. Those are the two things entropy talks about.
What the f***? This bozo definitely doesn't roll on Shabbos. Entropy doesn't talk. It's a textbook pathetic fallacy. And position of what, pray tell? Combining your belly laughers here gives us entropy speaks to how disordered energy and position of what we don't know are. If we then add your crown jewel to the incoherent milieu,
The second law of thermodynamics does not apply to the Earth.
we get the doofus's comprehensive understanding of entropy. Entropy speaks to how disordered energy and position of what we don't know are in Narnia. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury,
Right, hold on. Newton's first law.
that's it. I've had it. No more Newton. It will not be tolerated ever again. I've been gently correcting, coddling you mouth-breathing, knuckle-dragging, window-licking, spinning space monkeys for about 2.5 years, attempting to have you simply mindlessly parrot the correct pseudoscience from your devil-worshipping pseudoscience wiki priest. That hasn't worked. Time for Plan B, the final solution. From this point forward, as soon as I hear new or any remote vapor of the laws of motion or the law of gravitation, I'm going to halt any and all conversations, expose the propagator, then proceed to drag them around by their incoherent short hairs, spill their entrails across the ground, and have my wolf pups feast, then laugh at you in front of God and everyone. You want to see medieval? Stay tuned. No more Mr. Fucking Nice Guy.
The horizon is not horizontal. The horizon is not nothing to do with horizontal.
Are you serious? From math-openreference.com. In geometry, a horizontal line is one which runs from left to right across the page. It comes from the word horizon, in the sense that horizontal lines are parallel to the horizon. The horizon is horizontal.
You are so dumb. Damn.
I'm always right. To prove something, we have to be able to logically do that by deductive reasoning.
You want to start over?
Let me finish. You cannot use deductive reasoning with science. It's all inductive.
Fatality.
Induction has nothing whatsoever to do with natural science, you delusional putz. From the King Cheese philosopher of science, Karl Popper, 1963, Conjectures and Refutations, via wiki. As mentioned in the section, The Problem of Induction, Popper's response to the problem of induction is simply that induction is actually never used in science. Uh-oh! Back to Karl Popper, Conjectures and Refutations via wiki. Karl Popper, a philosopher of science, sought to solve the problem of induction. He argued that science does not use induction, and induction is in fact a myth.
Uh-oh! I'm always right.
You dumbass.
You cannot use deductive reasoning with science. It's all inductive.
Get lost, dummy.
Which means that invisible green pixies could be responsible for all the phenomena we put down in science. Demonstrate any understanding of science, I'll embark on my journey. So your first project will be to learn about trigonometry.
What the fuck? So for them to get up to speed and understand science, their first project is to learn about trigonometry? Trigonometry is mathematics, not science.
You dumbass.
From Richard Feynman, the Feynman Lectures on Physics, mathematics is not a science from our point of view, in the sense that it is not a natural science. The test of its validity is not experiment. From Dr. Carey Mullis, Nobel laureate, biochemistry, and mathematics, which is really not science, from Professor of Physics Black Krishnanan, ITT Madras. That's the whole point about physics. It's not mathematics. This is akin to stating, for you to get up to speed and understand dairy farming, your first project is to learn about curved tangent lines. You utter
Dumbass!
I'm always right.
Say hello to my little friend!
Yeah. All right, that's my boy QE. Sorry, I forgot about that. There's a hard F in there, but we're gonna be okay. But I know some people, they know I don't cuss. They might be playing it around some younger people, but pretty hilarious. And he puts a lot of work into that. And QE is on point with the arguments. That's why every time a Glober like comes and trolls me or talks to me, they got to bring QE up all the time. They love to talk about like Nathan Oakley and QE and Bob. It's like, yeah, all those people dismantle your worldview on a consistent, regular basis. So you have to like try to convince yourself they're dumb or something and then come ask me about them. Like, that's just weird. But yeah, so I think everyone should go sub to Quantum Eraser and support him. Anyone that's putting in a lot of work like that, you saw how much edits were in there to try to get the truth out there and break down the technicalities of some of these discussions. We should support them. So there's that. The Numpty Clips. I've been meaning to do that for a while. What does QE stand for, Austin? Quantum Eraser. So I saw, yeah, my boy Flatter Day Saints got his channel back, so y'all should go sub to him too. Flatter Day Saints, he's hysterical. I wouldn't just say that. I think he's hilarious. Those are hilarious. Yeah. Kiwi's crushing, man. How many utters was that? I don't know. All right. So, yeah, if y'all got any questions or comments about the Great Reset, hit me up. I'm about to go check the donations and read through them, whatever's there. And then I'll come talk to you guys for a second. Water bends with gravity. Dude, literally every single claim of the globe earth is retarded. Like every one of them. And think about this. For I know there are some globe earthers that watch my channel, as weird as that is. Look. They came up with the theory of relativity because Michael Morley showed them that, well, there obviously either is a background or the Earth isn't spinning and revolving. So they had to say there's no background because the Earth has to be spinning and revolving. We just know it's spinning and revolving. The Earth has to be a ball. So they threw out the background medium because the phase shift in the perpendicular light rays were not consistent with the assumption of the heliocentric vectors that they claimed. Anyway, so then they came up with these band-aids. Basically, they have special relativity, and then you have which finite speed of light, right? And then you have general relativity built upon that, saying that gravity is the effect of the bending and warping of space and time, which are two conceptual abstractions, one of which is a privation. And privation just means nothingness and absence of. It's nothing in and of itself. So privations in and of themselves are purely conceptual. Space is a conceptual privation, somewhat redundant. And then time is conceptual quantification of passing based on the movement of the sky. You cannot attribute physical properties to concepts. That's just next level dumb. It's called a reification fallacy, treating something that isn't concrete, giving it misplaced concreteness, right? Purely an abstraction. But it was the only thing they could come up with. They were desperate to do it. Anyway, all that to say, fast forward, even into the 50s, they knew it was way off, and the galaxy rotational speeds weren't right, and they couldn't work within the theory of relativity, assuming vast distances and sizes, et cetera, et cetera. But anyway, my whole point is, in 2021, utilizing the theory of relativity, they admit that they're off by 95% of the occupancy of the universe, right? So what occupies the universe? They admit that they're off by 95% of it, and that it's dark matter. Dark meaning we don't know, matter assumption that it's material. So literally the top level of the globe Earth argument, using billions and billions of dollars, decades and decades, all of higher academia, right? Every single type of math you can imagine, they still are off by such an astonishing amount that they don't know what 95% of the supposed universe is. And of course, you know, the theory of relativity is making a claim to the medium being space and time and nothing else, and its effects, right? So it's bending and warping and then causing gravity well due to the displacement of mass, and they're off by 95%. If that doesn't ring a bell for you right there, I mean, guys, you just aren't being honest. They can't even come up with a good theory anymore. Flat Earth will be absorbed. So long way of saying, like, dude, just accept it. Not everyone can be honest here. They just want the Earth to spin and be a ball. It's weird. And most people never even thought about the fact the Earth's spinning. They never even think about it. They just just assume it. Don't even think about it. Blah, blah, blah. And then I'm maybe debating Ranty again. I gave a few stipulations. I was like, yeah, I'll bring a little something to present this time, but it has to be on a way bigger channel. He mentioned maybe Simon Dan. I think he's got like just under 500,000 subs or something. I'd do it on there. He has to show his face, and that there's the allotted time for the rebuttals, but then there's an open dialogue, back and forth, live time. Only one moderator, only moderating, not being biased. And he agreed to the parameters. So I'll keep you up to date with that. Maybe debating him again. I'm really putting it into this nonsense that some singular image proves the Earth's a ball, even though it's actually proof for a flat Earth. It just debunks the globe Earth on to the left, but we'll get it off. I still hold a slight hope this dude might be like trolling the globe Earthers. I doubt it though. It looks like they got to him. It was my first or second debate. I've only debated thrice. Dude, I just love the videos you do on your channel, bro. They make me laugh, bro. Go sub to Flatter Day Saints. I love you, Austin. You're my favorite brother. Thank you, bro. I love you, bro. Ranty did terribly, but this is par for the Glober course. Yeah, of course. If you ask everyone else, though, I got demolished. Ranty's argument is completely embarrassing. The mountains are further away and subject to more angular size reduction. Yeah, of course. All right, cool. I'm going to read the thing. And just to kind of bring it back to the subject here. Oh, and I was busy and didn't get to get on the Glowbuster show today, but y'all should go show Glowbuster some love. I think that part of it's on YouTube. And then we're looking into maybe a Rockfin thing where I can just fully go all out and not have to tiptoe around certain phrases and words and stuff like that, because that's stupid. But basically, they're normalizing the Great Reset. The Great Reset will be the update of the infrastructure in every single way, bro. Like media that you know right now, updated. Social media that you know, updated. The economic system, updated. Every single part of it. Communication, transportation, you name it. It is all going to be updated. They're going to have smart city central hubs scattered throughout. And they will have basically still centralized banking, but it will be under the illusion that it's the opposite of that. They'll absorb crypto. And very interesting how the name of the guy who supposedly came up with Bitcoin is like the first few letters of each of the biggest brands of companies in Japan. So it was like Japan's attempt to kind of skirt around some stuff, it looks like. But anyway, so there may have actually been a little bit of like I don't know. I think it's just probably all set up, to be honest. But either way, the idea is not the problem. It's going to be the use of it. It's just like there being some order isn't the problem. It's just like the abuse of the system in place that's supposedly supposed to instill order. You feels me. Also, we also have a different Cash App setup now with the same Cash App, but you can still send $ once it gets it. But also I have a $ Masquerade Tour. MASKERAID Tour. So $ Masquerade Tour. Just because. So we have two Cash Apps. All right, I'm going to come over here. My boy Michael Lyon, always helping a brother out. We are the ones we have been waiting for, bro. Nice, bro. You're going to hit me with something profound like that, dude? Yeah, honestly, just like don't wait for other people. Do it yourself and grow yourself and take responsibility for everything that you're doing. You have a lot of responsibility. If you're one of the people on this channel that have like gone through a lot of this journey with us, then you know a lot. I mean, you've learned a lot. You've you've had to relearn a lot of things, and you've been forced to, if being honest, to admit that, well, we didn't know nearly as much as we thought we did, not even, a year ago. So just come to learn, come to teach, and come to learn, and understand you have a personal responsibility to adhere to the truth that was revealed to you. There's forgiveness in ignorance, but it does not say there's a forgiveness in willful ignorance. It actually says the opposite. So there's my take on that. Thank you for the support, Michael Line. Always helping a brother out. Much love, dude. Seriously, bro. I appreciate it. I guess I haven't done a stream in a little bit. My boy Mike for the generous donation. Thank you for everything you do. Keep crushing. Will do, bro. And thank you very much for the support. Generous donation, man. It's much appreciated. You guys are why the tours are going to be epic. Jonathan for a great stream on Sunday. Thank you for the donation on Cash App. My boy Michael Line is on here again because I haven't even done a stream in so long. Keep doing his good work, brother. Will do. And thank you very much for the support, man. It's much appreciated. You guys are awesome. Let me come check over here. RJ, thank you for the donation through the Masquerade Tour website. I'm not sure, but on PayPal. Thank you, RJ. Much appreciated. You guys are the best. All right, cool. So put money and time into tangible assets, but above all, put your worship into the Most High. Facts. It's one thing to invest in crypto. It's another thing to pump it up as the savior of finance and get a rich quick scheme. Yeah. The use case is a much needed update to the efficacy of how we make transactions. But the truth is that's because they built the system up intentionally flawed so they could then fix the problems with cryptocurrency. But really, cryptocurrency isn't the solution to everything. It would be just like barter and trading or like gold and silver. But yeah, I think you should make money on it. I told everyone a long time ago, like I think XRP is one of the best use cases, but it will not be the quickest way to make money. That you will have a lot better short-term return with other altcoins and even some of the big names like Ethereum or maybe even BTC. I told everyone that, and I still think the same thing. So I didn't just say that for no reason. I still think XRP is the most useful coin. It's 1,000 times faster and 1,000 times cheaper than Bitcoin. It's already working with regulatory confinement. It's being built, all around the system behind the scenes already. So take it or leave it. But I will say, dude, so it's like a long term. It's like a savings account kind of thing. But you buy on the dip. You don't ever buy on like an explosive day. That's stupid. It's volatile. It's a speculative market. It's going to bounce out. I don't want to talk about this too much. These are my bullet points for you. Like don't panic sell, buy low, sell high, invest in use case if it's long term, and get the profits, turn them into tangibility like land and clean water and food supply and some animals, and that's it. I saw someone ask when we were playing the QE clip, what do I think about meat? I think that the priests were constantly feasting meat. I think that when you have like a physically demanding life, that you're supposed to eat some meat, but we are meat centric, specifically pork centric, again, because this is Babylon that's built for Nimrod, and certainly America is like all about their pork because it's the opposite of the way it's supposed to be. I think we're supposed to eat meat. We're supposed to not overdo it, and obviously cook it. And I think that vegetables and fruits should be like more of a staple. We should eat a lot of vegetables, but no, I don't have a problem with eating meat. And actually, I started having like little bumps break out, eating top shelf vegan everything. It was the best vegan everything. It was every nutrients that I need to make sure I had in my vegan diet. It was all the vegan people telling me what to do. I felt like I had more energy at times. It wasn't a bad thing. Also, I still think we need some meat to be satiated, and I don't in any way think there's something wrong with it. And no, you don't have a moral high ground in any way because you don't eat meat. And no, you shouldn't identify as a vegan because your diet shouldn't be your identity. You should identify through the Father and Yeshua, the Messiah. So there's that. Don't really talk about it. I know people trip. I bought XRP at 11 cents. Nice, bro. That's what I'm talking about, dude. You had me beat then because I was telling everyone about it at like 15, 16 cents. I didn't have anything to invest in it, but whatever. I can't wrap my mind around Yeshua healing the blind, curing the sick, and then sit down for a medium rare lamb chop. Which part is that you're having trouble wrapping your mind around? Have you ever eaten lamb? It's delicious. Guys, I'm just going to trigger you. If you start talking, I'm just going to say things that are going to trigger you. If you're like religious about your diet, I'm going to intentionally trigger you. I think that vegans are right about a lot of things. They watch what they eat. They're conscious of it. They eat organic, healthy food typically, although there are some vegans that eat Taco Bell because Taco Bell's vegan because it's not real meat and it's disgusting. But oftentimes they actually have done a bunch of study into the science of what they're eating, how it affects their body, what they need to do, how they need to eat, and stuff like that. And that's a good thing. Most people eat too much meat. Most people eat pork still. And like, yeah, they're right about a lot. But no, I don't think you're supposed to completely cut out meat. Someone asked my answer. That's my answer. I tried it. And then immediately a vegan wants to say I didn't do it right. Yes, I did. I did it the way that all you guys do. And it wasn't just completely for me. I feel like y'all show me that I'm not supposed to trip that hard about what I eat, but I'm not supposed to eat unclean. And I'm supposed to have more vegetables than like maybe America would insinuate. It's not that meat's bad. It's that low quality meat is bad. Eat only organic, grass-fed, free range, or wild caught, or don't eat any at all. Yeah, I think that the quality of the meat is a big part of it. Yeah, of course. Hey, man, you want to chill over there, man? You want to drink? Just I had to put him on blast. Pork is trash. Yeah, like pork's not even food, bro. It's not even actually food. That's why I want you to eat it always. And then it's really interesting. Their deceptions seem to layer in the same area, contrary to the area. When you start to look at the scriptures, it doesn't look like they ate breakfast a lot. It's like they went out and worked, then ate at lunch, then went out and worked, and ate late. So they made up a meal called breakfast. And everywhere you go in the world that you go eat this breakfast, where you break your fast, right? Which they obviously don't want you fasting, focusing on the Creator. Where you break your fast, it's sausage or bacon. Everything. You want a breakfast burrito? What do you want? Sausage or bacon in it? Sausage, bacon, sausage, bacon, sausage, bacon. Oh, you want some hash browns? Oh, here's some ham in there. You know, like it's just weird. Like they just want to put pork in everything. Certainly breakfast food. Clown world. Taco Bell equals vegan. Yeah. Isn't that wild? It's too close to human flesh. Yeah, there's actually a potential theory there that it was engineered, that pigs were engineered intentionally to be as close to humans as they could get, basically as a form of blasphemy or rebellion, and then get everyone to eat it. I don't know about all that, though. Can't wait to show the fake aliens your channel. Yeah, I'm sure they'll watch it. Those Egyptians were nuts. Yeah. Guys, I want to clarify this, though. If you're eating just a ton of meat all the time, it's not good for you. You're not supposed to just eat tons of meat all the time. I need meat every single meal. That's not, I can tell you from experience, that isn't the move. You get more energy. You can feel healthier. You'll have positive, because I was eating too much meat before I went vegan, right? But there's a balance there. So take it or leave it, man. Bacon is good. AF, yeah. Bacon was pretty fire back whenever I ate disgusting, unclean meat that wasn't even considered food according to the Hebrew. Now I smell pork, dude. Even bacon, and I feel like sick. I'm not joking. And I would have never believed that would happen. I would have laughed at you. But it's kind of like my beard. Right now I know there's something to the beard. In a world, I'll just type in that balance. Yeah, for sure. Guys, I answered the question just because I've seen it a few times, but I'm not going to keep talking about it. I don't know about that picture in the Bible, and it's not really specified. Yeah, for sure. It's purely speculation, dude. I just think there's something really sketchy about the pig, and it does resemble the human anatomy pretty close in some ways that are weird. And dude, they're obviously not supposed to be eaten. They're like the Earth's vacuums. They just eat everything. And like they don't like detoxify like every other animal in the world. Like they just trap it all in. It's disgusting. It's actually disgusting. It's like Yeah, I think that Yamai just made pigs, and like their use case is like a garbage disposal for the earth, like a trash can, like a vacuum. But some say there's a little bit more to it. I don't know. Ham and bacon were my favorite till I got Truth Smacks. I never really liked ham, but I was a big fan of bacon. Pigs have the same amount of chromosomes as humans. Many people will actually kick back against the whole, like, they make very specific, definitive, supposedly definitive claims about, like, DNA. You know, I don't think they know near as much as they think they do. And, of course, they actually admit that they don't know that much. But if you go tell a normie that just claims I'm stupid, or flat earthers are stupid, if a flat earther says that, they'll immediately just laugh. This guy's such an idiot. He doesn't even believe in DNA. And like literally when you go to like Yale and Harvard and Stanford, they'll tell you that it's got a whole lot of holes in it. And it's a whole lot of speculation that can't 100% be verified yet. Just like, you stupid, you don't even know what the earth is, you don't even know what gravity, yeah, you don't even know general relativity is real. It's like, yeah, and that's resulted in it being 95% wrong, dude. You know, so here's what it is. Honestly, I think those people are effectively just going to bring you down at this point. You know, this is the Great Divide. And we're getting a teaser of the Great Divide with genetically modified, not genetically modified. Like we're getting two groups of distinct people forming right now. And it will be believers and non-believers. All the non-believers will be on the same team. Ask yourself, how do they pull that off? They admit all the lies. That's how. All of a sudden, the flat earthers don't have any contention with the system. They admit the system sucks. They're just trying to help you now because they're like, let me get you out from the system and all these governments and all these people controlling you. You should be free. You're basically a guide yourself. There's peace and love within you. We're going to show you how to not age anymore. Blah, 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 blah. Here's world peace and prosperity. It'll be believers against non-believers. This is all a trial run. So I stick behind that 100%. Yeah, I will say this, dude. If you identify what you eat, bad move. Bad move. Jehovah will harden their hearts and give them over to their vain delusions. Yeah, it's already starting to happen right in front of our eyes. All right, guys. I'm going to catch up with you on the flip side like a coin toss. Basically, in summary, we live in a world where a lot of people actually think this is what the world looks like. But it doesn't, and this is stupid, and this is a cartoon. And yeah, they're normalizing the idea of the reset in order to reset via Hegelian dialectic, problem, reaction, solution. So the problem being the current system. The reaction is people want a new system. The solution is, oh, we've already had this for you the whole time. Bringing the hero central figure, maybe he is re-emerging because he appeared to suffer a mortal head wound, like a head count. Somewhat speculation there, but he does check off a lot of the boxes. We were, of course, talking about the psychopath himself, Donald Trump. So keep an eye out for that little creepy grabbler. Either way, they're creating the very clear environment for a reset. And this is one way that's self-evident is just the death warrant of the dollar being signed so blatantly and brazenly right in front of you, like overtly they showed you that the US dollar will die. And this is their little final lap, throw the money everywhere, and they will replace it. So just basically just understand what's going on. This is a psychological operation after psychological operation after psychological operation. While they just run logistics, they analyze the people's behavior, the people's response, right? This is analytics, so they can formulate logistics and figure out what they need to work on, who's not ready to fall for this deception, how easily will they fall for this deception, how much will they cave under the pressure of not having gasoline, how much will they cave under the pressure of not having food, how much will they cave under the pressure of societal ostracism or consensus about like some like, you know, polarizing argument about like a cop and some dude, right? So they're pulling all the tricks out just to see how ready we are. They're basically using the Illuminati deck cards as the warm-up, and then like bang, every single psyop is for a reason. It's to get your psychological response to something as they evaluate you to a certain specific sector of the new system. And then they're going to swoop us in. And of course, the primary reason that we've been going through this lately is to desensitize you to major change, because they're going to bring in a massive change. And the session will be so great for possibly in the very elect to be deceived. So that means that if you're in here thinking, oh no, they just use Revelation as a script, and yeah, the Bible's cool because it's historically accurate, and like just by far, not even close, the most historically accurate contemplation ever. But it's not. It's just allegorical and it's Gnostic, and they mess with it just to control us. And now they're just making it look like game truth so they can control us. Like, I hate to say, you will not see through the great deception. You will be on the other side. And I know many of you think there's no way, Austin, I'll never be on the other side. You will be. So seek it out, man. Like, seek it out. Stop playing games. Stop putting it off. Like, it's not the most important thing that exists. You know, like, get right while you can get right. And that's just the truth. And if you don't realize that we're approaching like some like the pinnacle of something, where have you even been, bro? Where have you been? All right, so love you guys. Seek and speak truth unequivocally. The weak find contentment in the consensus of ignorance. I'll try to make sure I start going live every night. Like, we'll be finished moving out of the crib in the next couple days. Maybe I'll have a Shabbat stream. We'll have Glow Busters on Sunday. Potential debate somewhere in this weekend. Not sure. I'll keep you updated. And yeah, that's about it. I'll do some day streams, maybe mobile once we get back on the road, and then we'll do the night streams every night. I'll have the I'll have the cities and the dates tentatively mapped out before we leave my house. We should have everything moved out and ready by Sunday. I think we might leave Sunday, and then I'll let you know everything's going. Of course, we're just going to chill and rest on Shabbat. So there's all that, and yeah, that's about it. So until next time, just speak the truth, man. And no matter what it is, speak it. No matter, like, oh man, I finally got like flat earth friends and truther friends. And now if I have to go make a stance on the scriptures that I believe in them, I'm going to lose a bunch of even them. Dude, don't worry about what people think. And when people revile you for his name's sake, actually rejoice, for they did it to the prophets before him. Wear it as a badge of honor. But yeah, so I'll just catch up with y'all later. And seek and speak truth unequivocally. If you want to support the Torah, $WitsitGetsIt on Cash App, and Witsit@protonmail.com. On PayPal, also $Masquerade Tour. And you can go to masqueradetour.com, which I will start updating basically from here on out. And you can donate and contact through there. Peace out.
Geopolitically, we in a field that's for Israel. Wonder, is it real? Rappers act and say they high, say they simple pills. Glorify suicide so they get the deals. Big pharma set it up, had to flip the pills. Control the music industry until the scripts get filled. Geopolitically, yeah, we in a field that's for Israel. Wonder, is it real? Took the way you saw the world, then distorted it. Now you think you wanna rock that twirl, somewhere orbiting. Theories disproportionate, the truth distorted quick with a forceful grip. They force a misinfo that we absorbing quick. Took the people's signature to mean extorted it. They forging it if news anchors informants who informing them. There's a surplus, but they tell us there are shortages. Credit economy mortgages, dollar that's supported with empty fortresses. But what's important is this reporting ships important. Yes, of course it is, but extortion is in accordance with an assortment list of foreign tricks we ignoring, which informing this, informing this. It looked like we were snoring tricked. Pedophilia and the government endorsing it. Yeah, eugenics is exactly what abortion is. You just vilify those insubordinate. Way to matrix engineer, that's unfortunate. Geopolitically, we in a field that's for Israel. Wonder, is it real? Rappers act and say they high, say they simple pills. Glorify suicide so they get the deals. Big pharma set it up just to flip the pills. Control the music industry until the scripts get filled. Geopolitically, yeah, we in a field that's for Israel. Wonder, is it real?